What we've talked about today isn't just feel-good leadership, it's culture-shaping principles. When you shift from expecting perfection to praising progress, you create a team that's more confident, that's more engaged, and way more enjoyable for you to lead. Now, if you want your team to start to perform like Pixar, here's one thing that they did differently. In the early days of Pixar, Ed Catmull and his team faced some really huge challenges creatively with Toy Story the movie. But instead of waiting for perfection, what they did is they built a culture in around celebrating unfinished work. So even half-finished animation got shown and praised, not for being perfect, but for showing progress. And that culture of momentum ended up building trust and energy and creative breakthroughs. And it works the same in your progress too. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Marketing in Practice podcast, the podcast where I have the pleasure of simplifying the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can increase your income, your impact, and your enjoyment in practice too. Now, today we're going to dive into a small shift that can create a huge ripple in your practice, one that can transform not only your team culture, but the way that you lead day to day. It's the idea of praising over perfection, okay? So praising progress over perfection. Now that might sound like a simple idea, but if you've ever found yourself thinking, why aren't my team getting it yet? Or feeling like you have to choose between being the nice person and being really, really effective, then this episode is going to really help to hit home for you. We'll unpack why perfectionism is quietly killing initiative in your team or with your team, and how silence can be just as damaging as overcorrection. And I'm going to share with you a super practical 3-step system to start building a culture that's fueled by encouragement, by ownership, and by real momentum as well. So whether your team is brand new or whether you've been working together for years, stick around because this shift isn't just about them. It's about you leading in a way that brings out the best in everyone. Now, let me tell you a quick story from my own practice because this was a real turning point for me. This team member was about to lose her job until we changed one really simple thing as well. I had a team member, her name was Sandy, a wonderful person. She has great energy and amazing with people. But in the early days, she was incredibly forgetful. And it wasn't just the odd slip up. Her forgetful was starting to spill over into every part of her role and things were slipping through the cracks. And even though that she cared really, really deeply about doing a good job, you could see the pressure was building as well. And to be honest, we were getting close to the point where I had to ask myself, is this the right role for her? Because from my side, it felt like I was constantly picking up on what wasn't working. I was reminding her, I was correcting, and I was feeling more and more frustrated. And she was putting enormous pressure on herself as well. Every day started to feel like a high stakes test, one that she often wasn't passing as well. And that's when things shifted. We implemented a really simple system. It was just a checklist. Each morning at our team huddled, we'd sit down, we'd write out what the top priorities were for the day. And because she had something to refer back to, something visual and something clear, she actually became really good at working through that list. But more importantly, I changed too. I stopped only pointing out what wasn't working and I started praising what was. Things like, hey, you nailed the list today. You followed through on everything that we talked about. You remembered what to do without me prompting, and that was awesome as well. I started to realize that acknowledging progress was really building confidence in Sandy, and it was taking a lot of frustration away from me as well. You could see her energy shift, and the simple act of acknowledging progress, not perfection, just progress, sparked real momentum for both of us. Her confidence grew, her forgetfulness dropped, and she turned out to be one of the best employees that I've literally ever had. If your chiropractic team isn't performing the way you'd like, then chances are you've fallen into one of two traps, okay? And both of them quietly end up wrecking your team culture. At one end there's silence. You tell yourself, I shouldn't have to say it again, or they should know how to do it by now. So you stop giving feedback altogether. You go quiet and you end up disengaging. And the team member starts to feel invisible. They don't know if they're doing a good job or a bad job, or if you're just quietly frustrated all the time, which ends up making them more anxious, which makes them more likely to make more mistakes, which makes you more quiet, and it's a downward spiral. And on the other end of this is micromanagement, okay? You're so focused on getting everything right that you end up correcting every little thing, how they answer the phone, where they stand, how they greet someone. And the team starts to feel like they're underneath a microscope. So they lose confidence. They stop thinking for themselves there too, and they start asking permission for things they should already know how to do because they're scared of getting it wrong. Now, here's the kicker. Neither silence nor micromanage helps your team to grow. In fact, both extremes create fear. One just hides it better than the other. But when you shift your focus, when you start praising progress, even on the small things, that's when things start to change, and that's when people start to rise. So if praising progress is the key to unlocking better performance, how do we actually go about doing it? So here's a really simple 3-step system that you can start using today. It's nothing fancy. It's just clear, consistent, and powerful communication. And step number 1 is start looking for what's going right. Most of us are trained without even realizing it to scan for problems. Our brain is looking for problems. What's late, what's missing, what needs fixing. But when you intentionally shift your focus and you start noticing what's working, even the small stuff, you change your energy as a leader. Now, if you want your team to start to perform like Pixar, here's one thing that they did differently. In the early days of Pixar, Ed Catmull and his team faced some really huge challenges creatively with Toy Story, the movie, one of my favorite movies there too. But instead of waiting for perfection, what they did is they built a culture in around celebrating unfinished work. So even half-finished animation got shown and praised, not for being perfect, but for showing progress. And that culture of momentum ended up building trust and energy and creative breakthroughs. And it works the same in your progress too. Now, here's an example that might be a little bit closer to home. Let's just say that your CA managed a chaotic afternoon with a bunch of unexpected walk-ins and no-shows. Instead of focusing on the stress, just pause and say something like this. Hey, I noticed how calm that you stayed and how you made everyone feel cared for. That really mattered, okay? Little things like this are praising progress rather than perfection. Now, step number 2 when we're doing this is it's really important that we be specific when we praise. Vague praise, saying something like good job, doesn't build confidence and doesn't build clarity, but specific praise tells your team exactly what worked and why it mattered. It's the cue that will help them to do more of that. Legendary basketball coach John Wooden was known not for stopping practice just when somebody made a mistake, but he would also do it when they got something right. He'd say something simple like this: that pivot that you did right there, that's the exact way to protect the ball. Do it exactly like that again tomorrow. That type of laser-focused praise built repeatable excellence and ended up with 10 NCAA championships as well. Again, here's an example in practice as well. It might be nice job on the new patient. I noticed how that the care plan was printed and ready. That saved me time, made the handover feel really, really smooth, and I really appreciated the initiative that you took there as well. Now, according to Gallup as well, one of the strongest predictors for employee engagement is receiving recognition for good work at least once every 7 days, okay? But it's not about the frequency alone. It's about it being meaningful. It's about it being tailored. It's about it being really, really clear, something that makes sure that your team feel seen. Now, here's a quick brain hack for better leadership. If you want better motivation, don't praise too regularly, or perhaps I could say here, don't praise too consistently. This leads us on to step number 3, which is sprinkle it in, don't schedule it. If your team starts expecting praise at the same time in the same way, it loses its punch. Our brains are really wired for surprise, okay? Dopamine, the chemical that drives motivation, spikes higher when the rewards are unpredictable. Now, this idea comes from the science of variable ratio reinforcement, the same principle that slot machines or poker machines are based on, built upon. When the brain doesn't know when the reward is coming, it tends to stay way more alert, more engaged. And in a team setting, that unpredictability makes praise feel a lot more real, not routine as well. And here's how this might show up in your practice. When you're walking past the front desk and you casually say something like this: hey, the way you greeted the patient this morning was absolutely perfect as well. You put them at ease straight away. That was gold. Thank you for that. That type of out of the blue praise, it sticks and it shapes culture really, really quickly. So let's wrap all of this up. What we've talked about today isn't just feel-good leadership, it's culture-shaping principles. When you shift from expecting perfection to praising progress, you create a team that's more confident, that's more engaged, and way more enjoyable for you to lead. We looked at Sandy's story and how a simple checklist and a shift in feedback helped to turn things around to one of the best team members that I've ever had there. We explore the two extremes that derail team performance: silence at one end when nobody knows what they're doing, and micromanage where every move feels like it's under the microscope. And we landed in that sweet spot right in the middle where we recognize movement, not just outcomes. And we back this all up with a little bit of research from Harvard, business lessons from Pixar, coaching insights from John Wooden, and even a bit of brain science about dopamine and motivation. And then finally, we wrapped all of this up with a simple 3-step system. That was 1, look for what's going right. Scan for small wins, not just mistakes. Be specific when you praise. Name the behavior and its impact. And third and final, sprinkle it in, okay? Keep it surprising and genuine, not scheduled and stale. So here's some next steps for you, or here's your challenge for the week. Pick one team member and make it your mission this week to catch them doing something right. Now, when you do, name it specifically. What did they do and why was it that it actually mattered, okay? Do it once, do it at an unexpected time. It doesn't need to be a big production, just something real, authentic, and encouraging. And then watch what happens, okay? Watch to see the confidence grow and the energy lift and the performance shift in all the right ways. Well, that's it for today, folks. I'll be back here again next week. And remember, progress builds confidence, and confident teams build really wonderful practices. And as always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. See you soon. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspike.com/join. That's anguspike.com/join. I'd love to see you there.